you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's Friday today, and we have got some stories of hope for you, some inspiration, and just all the good things that make up our humanity on how to be resilient and move forward to create our best lives. So my first guest today, she's on a mission to inspire 1 million people, to help 1 million people. And I can't wait to introduce her to you. Kelly Snider, she's a best-selling author and story strategist who thoughtfully collects and preserves stories through creating events, writing books, interviewing guests on her podcast, and facilitating life-changing story workshops. She's an expert at extracting stories and identifying value and strength within the narrative. As an acclaimed event producer, she highlighted her clients' stories, needs, and goals. Since the 1990s, Kelly's story-focused events have raised over 15 million net for charities around the world. That is a wow. Welcome to the show today, Kelly Snider.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Wow, what an incredible mission that you are on. And I can feel the energy just visiting with you in the green room before we came live here today. So you have a story to tell about what got you started on this passion project.
Well, it goes way back to early childhood. And at the age of 3, I was orphaned when my parents perished in a fire that was begun by a dropped cigarette. My sister and I were rescued from the fire by a good Samaritan who was passing by. And we had a fantastic life because we were adopted by my godparents and grew up with all of our grandparents and extended family. So that was a really great thing. But growing up, I never really told anybody about my story because I was so worried that the word orphan, it brings up images of Oliver Twist or Orphan Annie, and I didn't want to be pitied. I didn't want to feel like a victim, or feel like in some way I was less than because of my story. So I never talked about it, but I didn't realize until probably my 20s how much that affected me. And the things that kind of came up, the domino effect of trauma. I developed disordered eating patterns. I had a bunch of other things that were difficult. And as an adult, I realized I was struggling with things like self-worth and abandonment and rejection and all of those things. In all the work that I did to straighten myself out and figure it out and get healthy physically, emotionally, and spiritually, I realized that my story could inspire other people, and even just the smallest piece of my story. So when I started diving into that, that's when I actually realized that everybody has a story that can positively impact someone else, often millions of other people. And that's really what set me on this journey of wanting to impact 1 million people, to have them share their stories to impact this world. We're so divided. There's so much strife right now. And I think if we can just listen to each other and hear each other's stories, we find out there's more that connects us than divides us. And that's, I think, where the healing will start.
This is it. You're going to find out later, Kelly, why I'm sitting here right now in state of shock, and so will you, audience, of what is occurring here. I'm going to ask you, Kelly, to stay on for the second segment if you have the time today, as
Sure.
I tell you a story of an event that occurred on February the 2nd when everything changed. And then you're going to see the connection. But right now, I want to focus on you. So you're welcome to stay on. So going back Go ahead.
I just said I'd love to stay.
Oh, awesome, awesome. Well, going back to you now, so this is an incredible work that you're doing, by the way, and good for you for putting it all together the way that you have, with first writing your book, then writing the other book, which you told me was best selling. That was the collaborative book that you wrote, because not only do you want to inspire people to tell their story, but you also have the platforms in place, helping people write their books, helping people write their stories, putting collaborative books together, having your own podcast, interviewing people. So you're calling people out to tell their story. And the other thing that you're doing is you want to talk to the people. Everyone has a story to tell. It's not just the person that experiences a lot of trauma or has PTSD or really traumatic events happening in life. It's pretty much people that are not in the traumatic area as well, that they have a story to tell too. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. And I think that people often negate their stories because they're not filled with the trauma. And even the stories of our achievements and accomplishments can inspire others. One of the first stories that I was massively inspired by was actually a Canadian Olympian. I'm Canadian. And Silken Laumann in the 90s, she was a rower. And she was in a big accident while she was training 6 weeks before the Olympics. And she was rushed to the hospital. Her leg had been split open. They didn't think she'd even walk again, let alone train and compete. And she was determined to heal. She worked at it every day from her hospital bed. And 6 weeks later, during the Olympics, she competed and won a bronze medal. She had been favored for the gold before the accident, but even for her to get in her rowing scull and compete, I was in tears. Probably our whole country in Canada was in tears because it was so inspiring. And I did a conference in 2017 and I had her come and be the keynote speaker because she had inspired me so much over the years and her journey. But I also realized that I can watch the Olympics and I can cry for anybody that's on the podium because I'm so happy that they've achieved something so incredible that so few of us get a chance to, let alone do all the training. And so when I help people realize that even their achievements and accomplishments, or even the things that they do that other people think are totally cool, that might be on a bucket list. Like when I tell people that took a hot air balloon ride at sunrise in Sedona, the number of people that say, oh, I've always wanted to do that. Just things like that. It inspires people to then do those things.
It almost is like a permission slip. It gives people a permission slip. Oh, it's, you have permission to do it. We have permission to do it. We have permission to ask for more. We have permission to experience amazing experiences and not hold ourselves back from having those experiences. Uh,
Exactly.
the other thing about you being so excited about someone else's success, that is a really beautiful way of being the observer, of being in the energy of seeing someone else succeed at something that they're so dedicated and committed to, because not all of us are going to be in the Olympics, but for people that we're rooting for and that we're voting for, we can get behind. And that in itself, as an observer, brings us a lot of joy as well. And we heal as a whole. So I just want to say, so as far as your project, like what you're doing with podcasting, interviewing guests, I'm going to send you people. I already know because I have a lot of people within my network that I'm going to be sending to you as far as guests. But let's talk a little bit about the book piece. So, how do people find out about the collaborative book, or even the other, if you're self publishing, or how do you do that?
Right. It's a challenge these days. There's a lot of books out there, but I've done launch events. 25 years in the event industry has really helped me when it comes to launching, for sure, which is why we got 11 #1 rankings with the launch of the first collaborative book. And I'm actually putting together a group of authors for the next collaborative book. We're going to start work on it in April with a planned release date of September. So if people are maybe interested in finding out more, they can get in touch with me. My podcast is Epic Exchanges, and we're on all social media platforms, so people can message me there. That's probably the easiest way. But it's really about taking people through the process of finding their story and making sure it's healed. That's such an important part. Our world needs so much healing. And then sharing it in an inspiring way to get to inspire other people so that then they feel they have the permission to share their stories as well.
Good. Well, I want to be a guest on your podcast, so count me in on that.
Definitely.
And
You're in.
I thank you. I just want to say, what you've also, the training that you received in your early life, as far as, the events training that you had over all the years, and then you were able to you were able to put on an event, and you were able to invite your Olympic star to come and be the keynote speaker. It's those kinds of things that everything eventually comes together. And when we use our skills and trainings and things that we've gone through in life and what we're good at, and then putting it all together and making something beautiful. And that's what you are doing. I just think it's so awesome that you are uplifting, inspiring, helping a million people to tell their story. And what a better place this world will be because of it. So congratulations to you.
Thank
And I
you.
want to thank you for coming on the Cornelia Stephanie show. And hey, I would love to even have you on for a longer talk in the future, having you on for a longer podcast show. So as well, but I'll have Ashley put us in contact.
Great.
So, audience, we're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we'll be back here in just a few short minutes when I'm going to tell you a story today that has literally changed my life in the last 2 weeks, blown me completely away. And my guest today is going to also probably be a little bit blown away by this. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to the Cornelia Stephanie Show, Stories of Hope. So today I'm going to share a personal story of something that happened to me and my family 2 weeks ago. It's really, there are no words for what happened here. And I'm still trying to put my mind and my body and my head around this whole entire experience. But it actually happened 2 weeks ago. February the 2nd is when life changed forever. And it happened here, it began here even on my podcast, because it was about 5 minutes before the podcast, the Cornelia Stephanie show was over, that I received a phone call from my mother that just before the podcast was over. And, and then I said, oh, I noticed that my mom is calling, I'll call her back. And then I saw that she called again. And so as soon as the show was over, which was 5 minutes later, I called her. And the words from my mother was, the house burned down. The house burned down. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, the house where we live in, it burned down. Those were the words. So I live 20 minutes away from my mom. She lives in the neighboring town. Her and my adopted father live in that house. And Arnie built that house in 1957. He's been living there for 65 years. And that day, that house burned down. Arnie, my adopted father, 89. My mother, 84. They weren't home, thank God, Kathy. Speaking of fire, they weren't home when the fire started, because the fire could have started that night. But the fire started while they were at their doctor's appointments. A fire started on the porch. I'm going to show a picture today because I thought it would be a really great way for you to see the visual of what actually took place. And so here it is. Here is the picture. So this is Arnie's house. Here's where the fire started back there. This is the kitchen. This is the kitchen. This is the living room area. This is the back of the house. They lost everything. They lost everything. So this happened 2 weeks ago. And so when I received that phone call from my mom, so then, I got in the car and I had to really ground to not speed and go crazy and have an accident getting there. But I remember getting to their street and the fire department still being there that day, and the street was blocked off. And I had to park my car down the street. And I remember the feeling I had that day, like, oh my God, this is so surreal. Like, I did not know what I was going to walk up to. And all I was thinking about was, how is my mother feeling? How is Arnie feeling as they are watching their house go down in flames? That's that's what it was. So it was just like I said, there is just no words for this, right? There's no words for this type of an experience, because it's devastating to be homeless at any age, but to be homeless at 84 and at 89 years old, that is just there's just no words. Currently, my family is in a hotel. Currently, they're in a hotel. I found him a place to, where they can right now be, that's close to this house. uh, Arnie's shop, there's a shop behind the house that did not burn down. And currently, they're in a hotel. And so they're able to drive to the house every day and kind of, look at the complete nightmare, but also go into the shop and see what's going on. So it's interesting because the process that we're in right now in trying to find them a place to live and getting the insurance company and everybody on board. This is an interesting experience because you know how it is right now for us. Those of us that are online, we know how to do our computers online. We know how to fill out applications online, but the seniors do not know how to do that. They do not know how to do that. So I've been, we're looking for a 2 bedroom, 1 bath home or apartment or something where they can stay temporarily until the insurance company gets things sorted out. Arnie does own the land, but then to figure out, what they're going to do next. The number one thing is to get him out of a hotel and get him into a home right now so that they can possibly try to rebuild at this age of the game, at 89 and at 84. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, when I feel into this and just go, oh my God. So, how are they? Well, they are actually, dealing with it amazingly well. They lost everything. And but Arnie doesn't want me to do a GoFundMe campaign on Facebook. I had my whole heart and soul ready to put it on Facebook and start fundraising and doing all of that. But older people generally have a harder time receiving help because he's a very proud and independent man. I mean, he built that house. So there's that. They're okay. They're okay with what is. So that's what happened. So Kathy, what do you say when you came on my show today for the first time and you said that you were in a house fire and that you were adopted in a house fire? Do you see now why I was sitting here completely shocked? Because I'm so grateful that my parents that this didn't happen at night.
Definitely. So lucky, so many blessings there that they weren't home, that they weren't harmed. But yeah, like what kind of other connection could happen than that? You can't make
Yeah.
this stuff up.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. So it's, the other thing is, I mean, this is so huge, because everything changed. And so like even filling out applications for them online right now, having to put their income online was another thing where Arnie got up and walked out of the room because he doesn't want to deal with that, right? It's like, so things like that requires a lot of patience. I'm very busy in my work as well with what I'm doing. And there's a lot of things that I'm excited about, but those things had to be put on hold right now because this is number one priority. So what am I saying with all of this? That if you find yourself in crises, or your friends or family or someone else is in crises, that you're able to deal with this because you have the capacity to be able to deal with it. That's why I feel like I am so blessed to be able to be there for them. One of the things that is, I think, the biggest gift is when I go be with my parents, when I go be with them, I completely have my schedule cleared and I'm there for 8 hours. I'm there for 4 hours. I'm there for 6 hours, whatever you need, because they don't need to be rushed with hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. No, they need to be able to be relaxed and be in the space of however long it takes. So, literally, I've blocked out my calendar, I've moved things around in order to create that space for them. And yesterday we found a place. So we found a place, and now it has to get approved by the insurance company. It has to get approved by, their income, all of this, what they qualify for, and all of that. So I will keep you all updated, but I thought this was a really powerful story to share because I want to let you know that whatever is appearing in your world right now, that you can deal with it, that you can trust yourself, that because if it's happening there for you, whatever that is, that you have friends and people around you. Reach out to people around you that can support you. And one of my things is that, I'm not too proud to ask for help. I'm not too proud to ask for space. I'm not too proud to ask for what it is that I need. And I know how to do that for myself. So, this is why self care, self healing is so important, even with just drinking a glass of water and making sure that you have that, right? So I want to thank you, everyone. We're going to close up this segment, and then we'll bring on our next guest. But for those of you that want to be a guest on the Cornelia Stephanie Show, feel free to reach out to us. If you have a story of hope and you want to come on, feel free to reach out to us at radio@corneliastephanie.com and send us a message there. And yeah, and we look forward to inspiring you, supporting you, and helping you to create and live your best life. Kathy, amazing to have you on.
Thank you for having me. And sorry, it's Kelly, but totally fine. I get that all the time. So it's Kelly, but I have loved being here. Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's definitely, it's been great having you on. And we're going to take a break now and we'll be right back. My next guest is here, and her name is Michel O'Hare, and she's a mother of three, and she's married to her best friend. That's always nice to know, and that's fabulous to celebrate. Most of her life has been the experience of jumping from one traumatic experience to the next, and there's a lot, so brace yourself. Childhood sexual, physical abuse, rape, abusive marriage, meth addiction, almost violently killed twice, complex PTSD, raising children with mental illness, caring for her mother with cancer till she died, death of her father, multiple sclerosis, and suicide of her firstborn. She's always wanted to help others with their pain, but honestly, she really didn't know what to do with it until she addressed her own wounds. The suicide of her child was the catalyst for her to heal. In those darkest moments, you can either choose to sink or learn to swim. She chose to fly, and she's here to talk to us about that today. Welcome to the show today, Michel.
Thank you, Cornelia.
Wow. So, as a soul, you incarnated into this now, because all the certifications that you've gotten with the Reiki and the body talk practitioner and all of that, and then healing your own wounds, now you are in the space of, uh, you know, realizing that as that soul, when you incarnated here, you experienced a lot of trauma and you had a lot to uh, feel to heal in this life, would you say?
Yeah, when you
Feel
were
to
just
heal.
listing, when you listed those things, I was like, whoa. because you don't sit around and think about it all the time. I'm like, that is a lot.
That is a lot. And I mean, right now, let's have a lot of compassion for you, for the things that you've endured as a woman, as a mother, as a child, as a human being, the things that you've had to go through, all those things: rape, sexual abuse, suicide, death, loss. I mean, trauma. It's like, this is hard. I mean, looking at you right now, we don't see the
No.
scars. I don't hear the scars in your voice. Like I said, when I first met you, you sound calm. Uh, so, but out of all the things that you've had to go through, I don't know what it would be like. I don't know, but having a child that committed suicide, it says in your bio that that forced you basically to heal.
Yeah, absolutely. It was it
Do
was
you want
the
to talk about that?
Sure, sure. It was the it was the darkest thing I ever had to go through. And we have like a really interesting story because um I didn't get to raise him. The last time I saw him when he was 3. And then I did all the drug addiction and all that kind of stuff for a while. And then when I got clean, I tried to get him back. And there was always those brick walls. It was like, nope, nope, nope. No matter what I tried, I could never get close to him. And then when he was 18, I got to meet him. And he
Oh,
was sick. He was sick with schizophrenia. So when I first meet my child, I'm meeting this very sick boy, and there was nothing that I could do. And he asked me if he could live with me. And at the time, I had 3 girls at home with me. One of them was my stepdaughter, and I had to tell him no, that I couldn't have him come live with us, and that was so hard. And 6 months later, after I met him, was when he hung himself from a tree. And he had told me before that if I didn't let him come live with me, it would be my fault. At the time, I didn't think he would do it, and I thought we had more time. And well, we were never promised anything. So that was how that happened. And I went into a very dark spiral where I didn't even know where I was going when I was driving. It was really a sad I was a really sad case at that time. And had other kids at home, and I realized I have to get help and I have to do something. And so I started reaching out for help, and that's how I found the 2 modalities that I actually do now, uh, with body talk and internal family systems. And I dedicated myself to healing every day. It wasn't just like a sometimes thing or a once a week thing. It was a everyday sort of thing. And so as I'm healing that, I was healing everything from childhood, facing all of it. And because a lot of things, like drug addiction and such, is like a running away, a hiding, and instead of facing, because it's too painful. And especially people don't really know what to do with that. You can talk about it, all day long, but I mean, what goes up must come back down. So there really wasn't much to do with it. And then when I found ways that I could actually let it go properly, and that I don't have to be ruled by it anymore, I was like, I can do this for other people too. So that's what I do. And I'm really grateful for it because I always wanted to give back. I just didn't know exactly how I was going to do it.
wow, I'm just blown away. I really am blown away. Because it's like, wow, that's so much. That's so much. It really could have pushed you over the edge. It really could have, and you came back.
Yes.
And so that's huge. It just says so much about what an incredible healer you are, and how much you were willing to stay here,
Yeah.
and how much you're willing to stay, because you could have said, no, that's it. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
You could have said, that's it. I'm done. I
I wanted
There's a
to.
lot of things,
You know?
but you got help, didn't you? You got help.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
asked for help. How old are your daughters now?
So I have a 9-year-old, I have a 16-year-old, and I have a 19-and-a-half-year-old stepdaughter. And my son would be 24.
Yeah. Amazing. I mean, your daughters are the future leaders on this planet. The young people are. We have to know that all our young people are future leaders on this planet, and so it
Yeah.
matters what we do. It matters the environments we create. It matters the healing that we do on ourselves because that ripples out and also goes back and even healing the old wounds, your childhood wounds and everything that you healed also is supporting the foundation of your daughters. And your son, I mean, how did you deal with that, right? Because at first when he asked you could he live with you, and you said no, because you wanted to protect your daughters,
Yeah.
right? You wanted to protect your daughters and you didn't know what was going to be. And maybe had you been given more of like, let's work on this, let's see how this is going to work out, but just like a one-time thing, can I move in, and then boom, 6 months later, that was it. So you really didn't get the opportunity even to work with him in this way, right?
A little bit. I convinced him to be on antipsychotics for at least a month. But the voices were like, it's trying to change me. We got to get off this stuff. So there wasn't really much that I could do. I was helping him edit a book that he was writing. We fought, I mean, we had things that happened, in between, those 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Again, that's really hard. And to not take it personal then, and not make it about you, that you caused him to take his own life, that it was
Oh,
your
I took that
fault.
on. Oh, I did take that on. That was something that I had to
Had
heal.
to,
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of guilt and shame there. Whew. Yeah.
yeah. Wow. Yeah. How long ago was this?
This is about 5 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. And so now you've completely transformed and transcended your life, and you are now in a healing practitioner, helping others
Yes.
heal
I'm
their
still
own
healing
wounding,
too.
right?
I don't think it
Yeah,
stops.
yeah, yeah, yeah. How can people find you on social media?
My website is innerhealingclinic.com. Uh, Also, Instagram, inner and then underscore healing underscore clinic. And I have a YouTube channel too at Inner Healing Clinic. Pretty easy.
Yeah, good. What is it that you want to see moving forward, in your own life, in your career? What's your vision for your moving forward?
Mm, I I would like to be more, I guess you could say, more comfortable being me. I'm a very different practitioner, and I'm not very professional, and it seems to work. I'm very relatable, and I joke and I cuss, and I'm just very different, and sometimes I don't feel like that's going to be received very well. So I would like that, and I'd like to be more like just knowing that the right clients at the right time and whatever's going on is part of the perfection.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. I think, you won't have a problem with that whatsoever. And the reason why is the age of Aquarius, Aquarian being uniquely yourself, being uniquely you, will demand that you do that. And it's not going to matter if some people don't like it or not, because we need people to be uniquely individuals,
Right.
while at the same time being being in service to the whole, for the whole. But we need the
Absolutely.
unique individual, the authentic. That's the name of the game. That's where we're going. So I don't think you will have a problem with that. I think it's great. Everyone has to find their own style, their own rhythm,
Yeah,
and find ways in which makes you work, and then share that, and then others will resonate to it because they're looking for that too,
that's
right?
true. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. Michelle, I would love to have another longer conversation with you. We didn't even get to hit the drug addiction. I think it's an important topic, and there's other things. So I'll have Ashley put us in contact, and we'll have you on for some further collaborations.
That would be
So.
great. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We're going to take a break, everyone, right now, and we'll be back with our last guest. What an incredible show we have for you today. I don't know about you, but I am so inspired by these amazing guests that we have on today. Amanda Harris is here. She's from Australia. I love it when we have guests from around the world join us here on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Amanda Harris Healing is an award winning psychic mentor, healer, therapist, and transformational expert. She has a story to tell us today, but I'm going to let her tell you that story. She does work with clients all over the globe via Zoom sessions or group healing and personal growth programs, webinars, women's circles, retreats, and speaking engagements. She is highly sought after for her deeply transformative work in the wellness industry, and I can't wait to introduce her to you. Amanda Harris, welcome to the Cornelia Stephanie Show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very happy to be here to connect with you and with your audience.
So great. Now tell us about your story. You were once doing something completely different than what you're doing now, and tell us
Right.
how that all transpired.
So I was, like most people, very heavily conditioned that we must just work in a job, a real job. So I was actually a learning support teacher. And, like I did enjoy that. However, I always knew my purpose was to use my gifts. I've been intensely psychic from a young child. So I was always able to sense, see, feel spirit and the energy of others. So that was kind of always niggling, but never, I didn't really have the courage to step into it out of fear of judgment. When I was 8 months pregnant with my son, my sister passed away. And we were incredibly close. We were Irish twins, so only 15 months apart. And she had 4 children, and she actually took herself home, which was so incredibly traumatic. For me, that really took me into the depths of my being. That was my spiritual awakening. That was my wake up, right? That was this soul shattering experience. So, I had my son, and I remember having him, I had him by cesarean. I was I was in survival mode. Really, I was in survival mode. The level of grief was just immense. I recall actually wanting to unzip from this human body, having these visions of just wanting to just escape. I had my son, and I remember feeling like I was holding a brick. I felt nothing. I was bargaining with the universe. I was saying, just take my son, give me my sister back. I was in like the depths of grief. Like grief is a very sacred place if you know how to navigate it. If you haven't navigated it, it is dark, it is scary, it is, just really, I want to use the word hopeless. That's where I was. I was in a space of very little hope. I had no faith that I would survive what I was feeling. Walking out to give my son a bottle because I didn't even attempt to breastfeed. There was no sense of connection to my heart. And walking out to heat him up a bottle one night, I remember just falling on the kitchen floor and just crying. And the baby's crying, and my husband's come out going, "What do I do?" And so he's like, "I need to take you to hospital. I don't know what to do here." And I started self-medicating. I was taking drugs. I was just escaping for survival. That's what it felt like at the time. I searched high and low outside of myself right? Most people do. Searched for all the answers and, you know, losing a sibling to suicide, how to move through grief. There was nothing at that time, nothing. And I ended up quite a few months later, I ended up finding a retreat, and it's by a beautiful woman here in Australia, Quest for Life. Patria King is her name. And I went to this retreat, and it was so expensive for us at the time. We had very little money, and I just went, I knew I had to go. And she told her story, and she said, I lost my brother to suicide when I was 30, and now look what I've created.
Wow.
And that was it.
Wow.
That was my moment. That was my light bulb. I went, oh, it's possible. Like, I can survive this. It was
Yes.
hope.
Yes.
It
It
was
was hope.
right? And because there was no way to ignore that. She was the same age as me. It was a sibling. It was suicide, because people would go, oh, I lost my mom. I lost my, you know, my friend. Oh, I was 20. And I'm like, but you don't understand. And so her story was so, I mean, I feel I went to that retreat just to hear that sentence, right? Because it was
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
aligned that my being just cracked open. I went, wow, it is actually possible for a human to survive this. You know, at the darkest time, I actually considered taking my own life. I
Yeah.
had zero faith in my ability to move through it, right? And this is coming from somebody who was, you know, for me, I was everybody's Dr. Phil, right? Very positive
Yeah.
mindset, had always
Yeah.
been like a go-getter, a generator of energy, just very like, I can move through anything. I'd already overcoming significant challenges prior to this, abusive relationship, trauma as a child, a drug addict mother. So I'd already overcome so much. So I had this solid mindset, but this kind of just, everything fell apart at this thing, right? At this situation.
Yeah.
So when I had hope, I started my healing journey. I realized that nobody else was coming to save me, because that was a big part of, you know, why doesn't anyone, where's the person? Like, somebody should be saving me here. And I realized that I had to
Right.
save
Right.
myself.
Yes.
Right. And I
Yeah.
think that's a big part of the healing journey. It's, you know, we are conditioned to kind of sit in the corner and sit in it and wait and think, well, something outside of me is going to come and pick me up and save me. But truly, we have to save ourselves. We must
Yes.
choose, right?
Yes.
And it
Yeah.
was through the standing up. That's when everything started shifting for me. I connected with a healer, and I'd had a lot of healing, and I'd gone to doctors, and I had gone down many paths in trying to heal. So I wanted to heal, but nothing was kind of working. That, you know, modern medicine said, you're depressed, you've got PTSD, you've got anxiety. Let's give you medicine. Like, let's medicate you, which I didn't take. And my healers that I was connecting with were helping me survive, but certainly not thrive. And I connected with a lady, and she was doing a lot of work with the subconscious mind, and it's so-called CTC therapy, and that just, I knew that was what was going to support me in my healing. So I had a CTC session, which was hypnosis, NLP, so neuro-linguistic programming, EFT, emotional freedom tapping. It was this beautiful cocktail, timeline therapy, this beautiful cocktail of healing modalities that completely shifted everything, all the programs, everything, that the looping that I had in, yes, I want to heal, but this is too hard, that was cleared. Everything was sort of just this fresh start. And after that session, I went, everybody needs to have this. So I actually trained to become a CTC master therapist. And yeah, my guides are screaming at me, the rest is history. But it truly is, you know, from that moment, I just went, you know what, I'm doing the work I'm born to do. So I stopped teaching almost immediately, launched my healing business full time. And I have been 4 years, coming up to 4 years in my business full time. So this is thousands of women I have connected with, supported, helped. I've continued healing more and more and more. As you know, it's a lifelong journey. Retreats, you know, speaking engagements, speaking about mental health. And one of my biggest messages is, you can allow the pain to take your power, or you can take your power from the pain.
Excellent.
And we are here in this human journey to experience growth. And the way in which we do that is often through challenge. It is through this heartache. It brings us back to ourselves. It allows us to expand. It allows us to be on our path. It allows us to wake up.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I mean, you are on fire. You are like a rocket that is about to go off. It's very inspirational. I want to tell the audience how they can look you up on social media, how they can find you.
Thank you. So Amanda Harris Healing, Facebook, Instagram, and website. I do a lot of live. I'm psychic as well, so I do a lot of, and a medium, a lot of live readings on my Instagram page. I offer a lot of inspiration in my content. Most of it is channeled, and a lot of it coming from the heart as well. But connecting anywhere, just Amanda Harris Healing.
Yeah, it's so great that you're in your gifts now. You know, when you were saying that you almost felt like, I'm just closing the show out now, but when you were
Yeah,
saying that you almost felt like that you were also looking at taking your own life, that you had
right,
that thought,
right,
it's the same thought that your sister had and acted upon. Because did you tell us that your sister had 4 children?
right, correct.
All
Yeah,
right. So that's why I'm saying the thought that you had that I could commit suicide. That's the
right,
thought your sister had,
right,
and she took action upon that thought. But
right,
we don't have to because we can heal suicide. We
right,
when suicidal people, what they want to do is they want to kill the pain. They don't
right,
necessarily want to kill them,
absolutely.
but they don't see a way out, and that's what it is. And you did, and you did,
And
and because now you're healing the generational trauma of the lineage in family, right? Amanda Harris healing,
correct.
right?
And they don't see hope. And that's where your work and my work is so important. It is hope. That is what saved me. Hope. That is what my sister didn't have. Hope. You know, and me having those thoughts helped me truly understand not only her, but so many clients to come who are having that experience. I felt it. I get it. Let's have hope.
We have to go, everyone. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in. We'll see you again next Friday. Take good care. Bye, everyone. You've been listening to the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Kornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at korneliastephanie.com.